Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Soulianos, brought to you by his books. They are Bodybuilding, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This is an excellent guide and overview of all the PEDs used in our sport, cycles, doses, side effects, the good, the bad, the ugly. Then last year, he wrote the sequel, Training, Nutrition, and Supplementation in Bodybuilding. You put all that together and you can build yourself the best physique possible. And of course, this awesome book is on Amazon.com too, Real Bodybuilding. Ron Harris. And now please welcome from Athens, Greece, Dr. George Soulianos. Welcome, doctor. Welcome.
Hello, Ron. How was it in Atlanta? About the Chicago Pro. And by the way, everything is held down to the south because of the COVID.
Yeah. There's only a few states that are like 100% open. I know Texas, I think, was the first one. Florida is one of those.
How's it going with vaccinations? 50% of the population.
I think it's more. I think it's like 65 or something, but there's still, I think most of the people that aren't vaccinated, they're not going to get vaccinated. They just don't want to do it.
And what about the Arnold Classic Expo? It's going to be just for the vaccinated ones?
No, there'll be no expo this year.
Yeah, sure. So I assume about next year, if they want to keep it safe, you have to have the green passport.
Yeah. So it is what it is. This has been a crazy 2020 and 2021.
But no masks on stage yet, huh? So far.
No, you still have to wear a mask. When I was in Georgia, Atlanta just now, you still have to wear them on. I took the train from the airport, public transportation, inside airports, and on the airplanes, you still have to wear a mask. And that's for the best, I guess. But Chicago Pro was a really, really good show. That's the best show I've been to this year as far as the quality. We had some
very competitive, man.
Very, and it was a lot of surprises too, because
I thought Raleigh would win, and he was dry though. He was dry. Perhaps the downsides, because when your Raleigh was blown in a beast, but in the pictures of Milos, he was really defined. But I guess Hunter has more fresh muscles, but not the maturity, I guess, of Raleigh.
Yeah, Raleigh was downsized. What did you say he hurt? It was it a back injury he had?
I don't know.
I think he had some kind of injury. I'm not really sure.
But his glutes were tight,
Yeah, he was, his body fat was low. He was holding a little bit of water. He didn't have any oil on at the judging. I don't know why. It didn't look like he had any oil on. He didn't really look like he was there to win, if you know what I mean. He didn't seem confident all the time. He wasn't controlling his midsection. Sometimes
he's 45. How old is he?
44. Yeah,
he's old, huh?
I mean, for bodybuilding, it's, everyone talks about Dex. Everyone always says, well,
Dex is phenomenal, but
that's 1 in a million, Most Mr.
Rodin also was 45, I guess, huh? And Coleman. But these are rare exceptions.
And Rolly's been a pro for 10 or 11 years already. I mean, he's got 2 weeks because he's going to do Tampa. So let's see what he can do in 2 weeks.
Perhaps he's going to pick over there.
I hope so. I mean, he should have. Rolly Winkler, when we heard he was going to Chicago Pro, everyone's like, that's it. Rolly's going to win. Hunter's got no chance. No chance.
Because he lost the Olympia, the qualification perhaps to the next Olympia because of COVID. And imagine he was spot on. He was in shape.
Oh, so Rolly
last December, he was in shape. Huh?
Yeah, I said, Rolly, if he came in the way that me and you have seen him before at shows, he would have won. Easy. But, congratulations to Hunter Labrada. And also,
Labrada has nice shape, lines.
He improved.
Midsection, V-taper.
Shoulders,
balloon shaped thighs.
Yeah, he had a great
round delts.
He looks better from the front than the back. He still needs more back, but boy, he's got an impressive physique.
You think his father trains him and gives him advice about the gear and everything, nutrition?
Probably not the gear. I don't think Lee knows that much. I could be wrong, but I don't think Lee.
Well, I guess about nutrition and training.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, I mean, he's got good people around him. He's got his coach.
The spotter.
Yeah, he definitely helps him with his posing. So that's a huge advantage because Lee was one of the best, if not the best poser I ever saw. But the surprise of the show.
What about the rest of the competitors, Mustafa?
The second place guy is really good, Brett Wilkin. So he turned pro.
Let me ask you, I think was also this Walker, the young guy?
He wasn't in the show. He already he won New York Pro, so he's going.
Yes, I know. And what about Mustafa? Was he dry enough?
Almost. No. He got 6th place. I would have had him probably like 4th.
Maybe Mustafa will collect points,
Oh yeah, he's got enough points now to go to the Olympia. He has to. Actually, I don't know for sixth place. I don't think he got any points from the Chicago Pro.
So only the champion of the points that gets the qualification.
Well, the champion gets instant qualification. The winner gets qualified.
Yeah, I mean the one with the highest score.
I think second, third, fourth, and fifth get points. You know, if
but only the one that collects the most points gets the one ticket.
Top three.
Top three, yeah.
So I think Shaban has enough points. I think that Dorian Haywood has enough points.
Mustafa.
And I think Mustafa has enough points already. He wanted to win. They all want to go in on. You want to go to the Olympia with a win. You don't want to get there.
I can say that Mustafa after Rami has the best thighs. You know?
Oh, his thighs. He had the best legs in the show. They're great. They're so big. It's like he almost can't walk. They're huge and round with not just big, but they have that sweep. They come out to the side. It's so impressive. But everything, his shoulders, chest, arms. Yeah, Cressito's his coach. But another Egyptian, Shaban, all these Egyptians coming on strong. Rami, they're pumping out a lot of champions lately. But I have to mention Brett. Brett, the second place guy. A lot of people thought he could have won, and it was his first time as an open. He turned pro in classic physique.
Oh, it's Tampa and then it's Texas.
Tampa and then Texas and Alicante, Spain, the Europa Pro the same weekend. And that's it. Wait, yeah. So Tampa, there's only three more shows left.
Kuklo been really drying out, you know, downsize a bit. He must be safe for the Texas, and it's his homeland, you know, right?
Kuklo, yeah.
He will take it, I think.
I think so. I don't know who else is doing it, but Steve wants to win that show, and he's a big.
It has to
guy.
be.
Yeah, well, anything can happen in bodybuilding. You never know.
But also, the Arnold Classic is before the Olympia, like the champion gets qualified for the Olympia.
Yeah.
So Kuklo is also invited to the Arnold Classic, so perhaps he has another chance over there.
I mean,
he might win. Why not?
He might, but he could. He's good enough to win that. I mean, that's going to be a good show too. I'm kind of bummed that because it's smaller. There's only 4 classes, no expo. We're not going to have a lot of the. I'm sure, like a lot of people from Europe, they're not going to bother coming for that. So it'll be. We'll be missing some familiar faces.
So unlike last year that athletes had almost 15 months to prepare from one Olympia to the other, now they just have 10 months.
Yeah, I mean, oh well.
Under pressure.
Yeah, but these are professional athletes. This is what they do. They compete. And if you're at that level, how much time do you really need? It's not like they need a full year.
Perry is already in Kuwait and started his prep.
Yeah, he wants to defend. So Brandon, Bonac, hopefully Rolly will get in there. Just Nick Walker, everyone's excited to see Nick up there. Kuklo, who else? Some of the top guys. It's going to be a great Olympia, great Arnold, great Olympia.
But you said Dan Solomon texts you that they won't be around it, huh?
No, he won't be in it. I'm not even sure. I heard
about the legal issues.
Yeah, the court system is so backed up because they weren't having any trials for almost a whole year during COVID. There was you couldn't get
racking the case, because
dude, the kid, he was charged 2 years ago. It was July 2019. It's been 2 years and he still hasn't gone to trial. That's a long time. His life, he's been in limbo. He hasn't been able to compete.
His aging. Also, he's out of the game, and this is bad for the mental.
Right, and it's bad for the fans too because we want to see him. I want to see him up there again. He's Mr. Olympia. I want to see him up there with Rami and Bonac and Brandon and.
Not even Arnold Classic.
No, I don't think they won't reinstate his pro card. I don't think. Technically, he's not a pro. They didn't renew his pro card, so right now he doesn't even have He's not technically he doesn't have his pro status. It's in limbo. I mean, he could get it back when this is all done, I'm sure, but when's that going to be? I don't know. It's just going on and on and on. Anyway, yeah. So we did get some questions, Doctor. Some good questions over the last week. Ready? Here we go. Hello, Doctor. What do you recommend for an aspiring bodybuilder to do as far as PED usage when his creatinine is elevated and GFR score has gone down into the 50s, and now he's seeing a nephrologist? Is this the end of enhancement, or is there a way to still use gear as a result of those scores being false positives due to having higher muscle mass?
Well, when you first hear this of 50 GFR, it's low. And with the gear and the overtraining and the dehydration and the extra protein and the creatine that will be metabolized to creatine and the increase of blood pressure out of the stimulants, it's in bad shape. We have to know that bodybuilders have low GFR because they carry more muscle, and more muscle practically means higher creatinine because muscles contain creatine metabolized to creatinine. Number two, those muscles, when they're broken down, and of course they will hit rhabdomyolysis, it's way different to be 120 kilos rather than 80 kilos because they release much more myoglobin out of the striated muscle that's broken down, which is toxic to the kidney in a huge guy related to a small guy. Okay.
Yeah.
So for sedentary people and for bodybuilders, the GFR is estimated differently through the 24-hour clearance of the urine. So you collect your pee from 8 a.m. Monday to 8 a.m. Tuesday, and you bring all these bottles to the lab and they ask them measure the clearance of the creatinine in those pee, samples.
Yeah.
And this is the most valuable and accurate estimation.
Okay.
Then afterwards, a huge guy has perhaps when somebody's is 300 pounds and 6 feet, he has the upper range of the creatinine should be 1.5 rather than to a small guy who is 5'5", 150.
Yeah.
Okay. But yes, you have to check out your blood pressure. If it's over 120/80, you have a problem because the blood pressure hits the glomerulus, and as Connor says, it becomes hardened, the focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, meaning the filter cannot filtrate properly, and then you have wasted proteinuria, which is a bad scenario. And actually, trenbolone becomes toxic because trenbolone elevates the blood pressure. Stimulants also, smoking also, stress, everything. So it's a bad thing,
Yeah.
So evaluate this, and I think before starting a cycle, creatinine has to be below 1.3. Stop using non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. It's better to suffer from pain rather than using those anti-inflammatory that hit before when I had this accident on April with my broken disc, I was taking ibuprofen like that. And my creatinine was close to 130. So the anesthesiologist told me, what's going on here? I told him, number one, I have a lot of mass. Number two, I am overtrained. Number three, I was taking like candy, the ibuprofen. So yes, you can justify this, but when you imagine that when you have 1.3 and you enter the cycle, it might go easily to 1.6, So take it easy and lower your protein intake. And then perhaps you can use some gear in low dose that doesn't affect blood pressure, like testosterone and proviron, and I'm sorry, primobolan or low dose of nandrolone.
Yeah. Well, your days of training are probably over, sir, sadly.
Oh,
Oh boy. Okay, next one is, this is a good one. What is the longest cycle? How many weeks can someone stay on and still get the effects from the drugs? For example, a test deca cycle.
Well, man, it depends on how you train, how you sleep, how you eat.
Yeah.
If you take your supplements, it's not a standard answer to this,
Yeah.
You may be a jackass bodybuilder and you're all year round in training, you look like shit,
That's right. Yeah. I mean,
so it's a 365, 24/7 lifestyle.
right.
How disciplined you are, how strict, how dedicated, in order to take the least track and with the best lifestyle, This is the smart thing to do.
Yeah. I think I'm on week 400.
I guess 8 weeks and then you see the results. 8 weeks at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the dose, of course, how legitimate the drugs are, how clean is your diet, how consistently you train, take your supplements, how much you sleep. If you recover, you grow while you sleep.
Yeah.
You look flat when you don't sleep, You look like shit, you don't live.
Yeah, as you say, it's multifactorial. There's so many factors involved. Somebody could be on a cycle and stop getting results after 8 weeks. Another person might be 20 weeks and they're still getting results.
It mostly depends how ready you are when you introduce the gear. If you already are lean, if you already have a six-pack, if you look like an elephant, it doesn't help get into the gear,
Yeah. I always tell people, try to stay lean because there's so many guys who just they stay fat all the time. They're just bloated. It's not good for you. It's not healthy. It doesn't look good.
They have this insecurity about downsize.
Yeah.
But they don't look bodybuilders. They look like powerlifters or strongmen or doormen, you know.
And they get so mad at the guys who stay lean, you know, like me. I'm like, sorry, dude, you know what? I eat clean. I do my cardio. I'm not trying to be 300 pounds.
And of
Sorry.
course, they claim that you are in gear.
Well, they're on gear too.
Of course,
they,
yeah.
they say, oh, he must be on more gear or better gear. I'm the same way. I can't talk shit. All right, here's we love I love the GH questions. I think some of these questions are fascinating. I've been reading recently that some studies say that HGH can actually cause aging of the cells, as opposed to the opposite. Dr. GT, what is your take on this? I'm sure you did not miss these findings.
So abuse of GH may lead to spike of IGF-1 that is linked to mortality through cancer. But generally, you have to know that GH induces longevity. I mean, leads to longevity through the elevation of a protein called clotho. Clotho in ancient Greek was a goddess that was doing this. I don't know how you when they make a sweater, the
knitting, like knitting.
Yes. Yeah, anyway, and clotho means the protein that as they were doing this process, this means they elongate the fiber, which is linked to the longevity. Okay. So anyway, GH elevates the clothoprotein, and clothoprotein, the highest is in the cellular level. It's linked to longevity through the telomeres. Now, chromosomes, they have this ending, and telomeres are the endings of the chromosomes. The longer the telomeres, the more years you're going to live. So people over 100, they have long telomeres. And GH use promotes clothoprotein production, and clothoprotein elongates the telomeres. So there is a link between GH use and longevity, but in small doses when IGF-1 is not spiked. On the other hand, too low IGF-1 is also linked to mortality. Too high also linked to cancer. So you need the sweet spot to be within range, middle range and highest range. Okay. I believe I look younger than 48.
Oh,
You're around.
You're on 3 IUs, right? Normally a day?
3 IUs, yes.
Yeah. So most people find 2 to 4 is that sweet spot where you get the longevity. But if you're doing 10, 15 IUs of GH a day.
For other processes, you know, but I mean, bodybuilders are the perfect specimen. So I have to be pros and Olympia competitors that have been using 10 IUs all year round for 10 years.
Sure.
Okay, how do they look? I believe the jaw elongation, you know, the elbows are the more prominent side effects, and diabetes also. But now about cancer, I only know that Shawnee Schmidt and Dennis Newman were sick of cancer, these 2 cases. I'm not talking about liver cancer, but other things. So
leukemia. Dennis had leukemia.
Leukemia and Shawnee Schmidt, I don't remember, but he died of cancer. But I don't have any other evidence that the bodybuilder died of cancer, out of liver cancer, of course, you know. So and by the way, people with acromegaly, that means over 7 feet tall in the basketball, giants, they have higher protein, but these guys, of course, die from heart failure because they have cardiomegaly as well.
I don't know if you ever saw it. There was a series on a
giant and Hulk Hogan.
There was a TV show about people with you know, the high GH. It's called My Giant Life, and it followed a few of them around, and it was pretty sad. These poor people, they have very difficult lives. They're in a lot of pain. They're not very healthy, and they die young. It's actually really sad. You know, the
tallest guy in the history was an American, Robert something in Guinness. Yes. Yeah. 272 centimeters, 8 feet. I don't know.
He was 8 foot. I've looked 8'11" 3/4. He was this far away from being 9 feet tall. That's crazy. You ever see the pictures of him next to regular people? He made everybody look like a toddler. It was insane. They only went up to his waist.
Yes. And he died so young at 30 from arthritis.
No, 24. He was only 24. Yeah. Poor guy. Yeah.
And this is before World War II, you know, he was like a freak for the circus.
Matt, if he was around now, can you imagine walking around? I'd like to just see something like that. I know it's my morbid curiosity, but imagine seeing a person who's almost 9 feet tall. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, next one, sir. Okay, doctor, for a person who uses only 250 milligrams of testosterone and 40 milligrams of oxandrolone for 10 weeks, what would be the ideal time between cycles? How long would it take? How long do they need to wait to start up another cycle like that?
It all depends on the lipids and the liver, because your testosterone will be suppressed again. So
Okay.
check out liver enzymes and cholesterol fragments in order to make sure you can enter again your cycle.
Yeah. You know, in the old days, we had no medical, the bro science told us that if you're on for 10 weeks or 16 weeks, you should
Yes,
be
this
off.
applies. Yes, this applies for the HPDA recovery.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so perhaps your testosterone will be restored as long as you're in. But then we'll be shut off, we switch on, switch off. It's more important though to check out your cardiovascular profile in your liver, because these are the standard deviations.
Yeah. But of course, almost nobody does that anymore. Now it's all blast and cruise, blast and cruise. That's the new norm. People have been doing that now for a good 10 or 15 years at least. Okay. Here we go. Dr. T, I'm 50 years of age and my current test levels are, this must be European, 17.8, because that's way too low for the way we measure it in America. I'd like to regain some of my muscle mass from years past. Will one shot of 1 ml, 250 milligrams of test, and 1 ml of nandrolone, 250 milligrams, along with 20 milligrams of Anavar over a 6-week period do that job?
I would say for 250 deca, you need at least half a gram of testosterone, but this is about the sex drive.
Right.
Moreover, I wouldn't choose Anavar for this. I would choose Dianabol to grow along with deca. So Anavar is not beneficial with this dry effect that it has. So it's better to use it with diet to save the muscle.
Yeah.
So perhaps 30 milligrams of Dianabol, 10 milligrams 3 times a day. And okay, if you want to use 250 straight equal 250 test in deca, yes, you can do that. But it's better to do it in 2 doses of 125, So half ml twice a week to have it steady to the system.
Right. So like in Greece, doctor, here, anything under like 300 is considered low. That's the way we measure it. Yeah. What's the reference range? What's considered low in Europe or in Greece specifically?
The same. I mean, it's below 300, 299 officially.
So this guy, when he says
some stubborn urologists and endocrinologists you need to be below 200. So this is not bearable with life. You cannot even jerk off. Come on.
So this guy, when he says 17.8, wow, if that's on the same reference.
This is a reference to the UK scale. When it's between, I think 29 is the highest.
Okay.
So this guy is about mid-range, 50%. Officially, he's not considered hypogonadal. If this is what I'm thinking about.
Or maybe it's the free. Is that the free test that he's talking about? Maybe
I guess it's a total, because we speak generally about the total. The free is more expensive and.
Yeah. Okay. Final question, doctor. I want to know: is there a way to drop my hemoglobin? Mine is 50% above normal. What should I take other than aspirin, 100 milligrams, and glycine?
Aspirin doesn't lower directly, but perhaps indirectly through bleeding, stomach bleeding, and GIT bleeding, you may lose a little bit of blood, but mainly deactivate your platelets that are not perhaps easily to be aggregated for a thrombus. So the most important is to lower your protein, either become vegan, because hemoglobin is made of protein. Stop eating red meat. Stop taking iron, folic acid, B12. And you can take losartan, which is a compound against blood pressure that has this side effects to lower hemoglobin,
Okay. Yeah.
And of course, if you smoke, stop, do it. Stop. And if you snore, use a CPAP mask, because snoring and sleep apnea elevates indirectly hemoglobin. If you live up to the mountains, go to the sea level.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been talking to a few people like Dr. Dorian Haywood. He's a chiropractor, not a medical doctor. And he moved to Denver, Colorado from, I think he was from Indiana, and they get higher hemoglobin living up there.
Yeah, thinner. They are thinner up there.
Yeah, like Phil Heath, this guy Brett Wilkins is in Denver. So then they come down to sea level.
This is not a good idea for a bodybuilder, because he already has high hemoglobin for the year.
Oh. I
This
didn't
is
know.
good for a track athlete that does endurance,
Wow.
activity.
So that was not Phil Heath's secret, living in Denver. Okay.
Oh, come on. He doesn't need to live up there. He has already high hemoglobin for the year.
You can live
He
anywhere.
looked bluish. I've seen Phil looking bluish in the end of the set. Means so much thick blood, and high, elevated level of red blood cells.
Wow.
And this is due to oxymetholone also.
Anavar, right?
Anadrol.
Oh, Anadrol. Yeah, oxymetholone. Oxandrolone is Anavar. I'm sorry.
All these grams of the year would boost, And I believe these guys do a phlebotomy every month at home at least.
Well,
I've seen Michael Hearn does a phlebotomy at home.
At home?
Why? Why?
By himself? He's just sitting there taking out his blood?
Well, yeah, they stick a needle over here and they let it go,
Oh, God.
You have to change your oil, Otherwise it becomes.
I've never donated blood. Sorry, guys. I'm a bad person. I know. I don't even like when I have to get blood work because they're taking my blood out. I don't like seeing my blood leave my body. I hate it. It gets me mad. Like, leave me alone. Stop taking my blood out. Like, they take like tubes. And if they take more than 2, I start getting really mad. I'm like, how much blood do you need for these stupid tests?
Listen, think about the other side that as a Christians, we need to help some people and donate.
I know. Yeah. I'm sure my blood's no good.
But don't be afraid because you have so much blood and losing a little bit of doesn't mean that your gear is wasted.
Clearly, I have issues. Anyway, doctor, that's been another great show, another great episode.
125, man.
Yeah, 125 or 126. God, we just keep moving. We're moving and grooving on these. So thank you, as always, doctor. One of the only medical doctors in the world who is also a champion bodybuilder, walks the walk, talks the talk. He's treated many, many patients who have used gear, still use gear. The only guy, one of the only people in the world that can answer your questions this way. So we're very, very lucky to have you, doctor. Thank you so much. And guys, if you have questions for the show, please leave them in the comments right here underneath the video. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, give thumbs up to the video, do all that good stuff. That's the like. Do all that good stuff because that's very much appreciated on our end. So Dr. T, thank you so much. And that's it, guys. We'll see you next time right here on Ask Dr. Testosterone. See you next time.